Our guest today is an incredible man, president of DePasquale Salon Systems, Lakme Color. He was the representative for the United States, one of three, for 3 years for the Cosmoprof Board, representing the United States. And, he's a family man, a friend, and an amazing human. So please help me welcome.
I'm just happy I got on.
We're like experts these days.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. So, Joe, we have so much information we want to get from you, and I'll if you see my screen go blank occasionally, it's me trying to wave at folks and accidentally turning the camera around. So,
No worries.
I'll try and be the on-site DJ here. So, in part of getting to know you, how did you get started in the beauty business? Because you're not typical beauty by any means.
Thanks. Well, what happened was...
Not that you're not a beauty.
Oh, I know. It's okay. I love you too. Really what happened was I got a chance to meet Carmen DePasquale some years ago, and I was in the shoe business at the time, so we don't want any shoe jokes. And we actually hit it off really well. And he said, he called me back and he said, I want to make sure that I get an opportunity to meet with you. So at the time my company wasn't doing that great in the shoe business, and I didn't really like the direction it was going. So Carmen invited me. You'll love this. He invited me to an event. And when I went to the event, there were so many beautiful women there. That was the end of it for me. So I realized I love beauty. Is that okay?
You're an admirer of beauty. So
it was exciting.
But so there's beautiful people. Carmen is legend in the industry, so you can't ask for a better mentor. But when did you know you wanted to do this for the rest of your life? I mean, shoes became a booming business. What told you this? I made the right choice. Was there a moment you knew that?
Well, you know what? I think it was probably late in my first year. When I remember interviewing with Carmen, and I said to him, he said to me, "What do you want?" And I says, "I'm not a yes person, and I want opportunity." And he said, "I don't want a yes person, and I have a lot of opportunity." And when I came in, I took a step back and came inside and learned the company, and I was just learning a lot from him. He was a very good mentor. He shared a lot of information, and I met a lot of great people like yourself. Many people embraced me for who I was. Not, they didn't say, "Oh my God, you're from outside the industry." They allowed a new perspective to come in, and I think that really helped. I brought some different ideas from my business past, and it kind of meshed and worked really well.
Well, I want to thank you because you may not know this, but 20 some odd years ago, when I was doing events for you, I had never really done that kind of stuff before. I was coming from the celebrity world, and you were someone early on that gave me the support, right? And really promoted me throughout that time. So I want to thank you for that.
You're loved here in our region. Every time you come here, you sell out. And what's really great about you is that you're a very talented individual, and you could be. A lot of talented people don't like to really be humble. You're humble and you teach people. That's why they love you. So that's really great. You come here anytime. You know that.
Thank you. Love you too, Joe. So tell us, we're going to get into what's going on in the world, because how can we not? How has this personally affected you? And I think I know the answer.
Well, yeah, it has. This is, first of all, there's a lot of people suffering. Okay. And I pray for everybody. As you know, you and I spoke about 4 or 5 weeks ago. I got sick, and I went to the hospital. I had pneumonia, and I had the virus, and I tested positive, and everything for me was going along great. As you can see, I'm back. But the hardest thing for my life is that my mom, who was 90 years old, who lived with me, and my best friend, and a person that really gave me a lot of the values that I have today. She lived with me. She also had pneumonia, and she also had the virus, and she didn't make it, and she passed. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm sad. I really
am. And I'm sure everybody's sorry with you, Joe. This is so you literally have skin in this game. This is serious to you. This is real. And that's why I think you're the best person to be talking to right now, because you're a pure businessman, but you've dealt with the emotion of it, obviously. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And now your health is getting better.
Yeah, you know what? I have to tell you, I'm not my 100%. I lost 20 pounds, which wasn't a problem, but that's okay. But, I'm tired. I get a little tired more quickly, and I don't feel like myself yet, but it's getting better,
Okay.
and there's a lot of emotional things too. We have employees that are not working. We furloughed, all the company. So that's, depressing and sad. And then the situation that happened on a personal front. But I'm a very optimistic person. I need to take, my mom worked till she was 88. I know that she would be happy that I'm back in working and putting my grief to the side and getting on with my life. That would be very important to her, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. And I think it's very therapeutic. Also.
I completely agree, and I think moving on to my high school actually had this slogan of "It's not what happened, it's what happens next."
Absolutely.
One step at a time, but always ahead.
Sure.
These were slogans that I grew up with. And so, what's the very first thing we can do, Joe, as we're preparing to reopen our salons, to go back to our salons? What's the very first thing you would do if there were one thing?
I think we're already doing it, many of us, and that is communicating. As I said to you prior to us closing, I made it a point to speak to all of our employees, especially my sales team, every morning at 9:30. I felt it was important to let them know the truth, what was happening, because I don't believe if you don't tell your team, the people that are out there working with you, what you're thinking and what you're doing, they can never help you take the experience of what's going on and help you get to the next level. At the same time, it is imperative to let the clients know, the guests that are coming back to the salon that want to come back, what you're doing to be ready for them when they get there. One salon owner once asked me in the very beginning, do you think we have to discount our prices? Absolutely not. What the salon clients are going to want is a safe environment, and your employees are going to want a safe environment. So if you could create that safe environment, which everyone's going to try to do, I would hope, then I think you're going to make people more comfortable, and then the healing, can get better. And I actually believe the hairdressers, salons are going to be a big part of the healing in our country.
I agree. I mean, I think that people forget how good we make people feel on a daily basis. We're the great battery chargers, right? They look in the mirror, they feel love, they feel life, they feel happy, they go home and spread that joy.
No
They
doubt
think about seeing their hairdresser for 6 weeks. That's something very emotional, impactful, I think, for them.
I think that many people are looking forward to getting back in the salon. Yet, there's still people that are concerned. So it's our responsibility to make them feel that when they come to our establishment, in our salon or our spa, or to get our nails done, that we are prepared to make them safe. That's the first step, because we know we're going to make them look great. That's what we do.
Yeah, but do we keep them healthy? So it sounds like you have a lot of information. For those of us watching, what are some resources that you tune into, that you tap into to know the laws? Let's start there, because I assume that CDC and others, Department of Health, Board of Cosmetology, I'm assuming they know some stuff that maybe we haven't thought of.
Well, what's interesting, there are many great resources. Listen, if you're a member of the PBA, they're keeping you updated. Modern salons of the world, all of our industry is getting information. But the reality is this, and I really believe this is the most important thing. We, as an industry, have not been treated properly in terms of that being an essential business. I understand there are so many businesses out there that have been affected, and they look at them differently than they look at us. Now, why that's happened, I have no idea. But I think one of the most important things we can do as a salon community is to help the process, and by reaching out to our legislators, our governors, our senators, our local municipalities. We vote for those people. We helped get them into election. They've been elected because of us, our support. They need to understand our business better than they really understand it. So if there's a task force or if there's a group that are going to get together to help open up a salon, who better than a salon owner to be part of that group? I've been on some amazing conference calls, and there are so many talented salon owners throughout the whole United States. We can learn from the salons that are open in other states. I mean, I've been on calls with Cal. I've been on calls with many different people, and what you're seeing is the information is real. It's in real time. Now, there is something that's called overload information. There's a lot of things that people are speculating on what's going to happen. So I think what we did here is we actually created like a letter that we wanted our salons to take and personalize it and send it off to the governor of their state or to their local, their local leader, their representative, and say, listen, you don't understand our business as much as we do. And you know as well as I do that our business has always been about sanitation. We're licensed professionals. So because they don't know our business that well, that they're going to give us these outlandish requests that without having any facts. And I don't believe that's everybody's thought process, but I think we need to participate in a big way. If we're going to be we should be part of the process. That's my opinion.
So, Joe, and by the way, folks, if you have questions, type them in, and we have someone watching, or you can put them in that little question mark box at the bottom. We want to answer all your questions with Joe. Again, he's sat on boards. He's been president of this organization and a brand, so distribution and a brand, involved with one of the biggest salons on the planet, also where the Real Housewives of New Jersey get their hair done. But we already have a question here. Joe, that question is, would you share that letter with any salon in the USA?
Any salon.
Okay.
So tell you what, you figure out, I'll give them my email. This could be fun, but my email is joem@depasquale, DEPASQUALECO.com. It's a very generic letter. It touches the points about our industry, and you put your personal touch, how long you've been there. I'll give you an example. Carmen DePasquale and Justin is Carmen's son who runs our spa. You mentioned DePasquale Spa. We have reached out to all of our local representatives and sent a letter to the governor, and we wanted him to come and visit our facility to hopefully show him what we're doing and steps we're taking. Yeah. See, if we have guidelines that work, that are not difficult, that everybody can understand and they're safe, then maybe they'll take some of that advice. And whoever gets the chance to get into those meetings and has a part in that process could only help our industry.
Yeah, and I think that makes a lot of sense, because you're right. You got people working with blinders on right now, and they're like essential business, and they, okay, maybe we're not essential, but they have no idea how to bring us back. And I think it's going to take us. I think that's a really good point. So, how are we going to adjust salon spaces? I mean, this may take a few different topics within. What are some of the things that DePasquale Salon is doing, for example, to adjust the space? And how could we adapt that to a budget? Because we're not all the biggest salon on the planet.
I actually think it's in a smaller environment. Our challenge is that we're going to have to separate. You either have two choices. You can either separate the stations with plexiglass, or I actually saw something pretty unique. Someone took a really nice fine shower curtain rod and divided it, and so it could be temporary. I think the key thing that's going to happen is the people are focused, and we understand the 6 foot. So you either have two choices. You either become 6 foot separation, or you close them into some area where they have their own privacy. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
The other thing, there are so many other things we're going to do. That you're seeing a lot of disposable capes, disposable
Wow.
aprons, disposable chair covers, the gloves, the masks. These are all added things that are going to have to be part of every day. Now, there's a challenge that possibly, if you're, some of our best talented hairdressers can do multiple clients. Our assistants can do multiple clients. Well, that may not be the norm, because
Wow.
if you think about it, if you have to change your robe or your cape or your covering for every client, you can't go from one client to the next client with the same a piece of garment on, or the disposable on. So you're going to have to figure out, how you can do one client and stay on schedule and still get the revenue. It's going to change. Assistants are going to have to be used differently, because they just can't go from one client to another without changing their gloves and touching one client to another. So these are all things. Now, what some people are doing, and I heard from somebody in Atlanta that they're wearing the shield, they're wearing
Yep.
masks. Well, they're saying you get tired. When you have hairspray, it gets on your face guard. So you need more time for each client. So you're going to have to take a break in between, which we know that has never happened for hairdressers. But you can't have buildup. I don't know about you, but when I wear my mask and I have my glasses on, it fogs up. Well, the same theory is going to happen to a hairdresser. So there are new things that we've never been exposed to that are going to be new challenges. And I think that's what we have to look at on a daily basis. But I understand that that the client is going to be very conscious of what we're doing. The salon's got to realize that the consumer of today is more educated. So that client's going to look and see how clean your place really is, to see if you're changing your gloves, if you're sanitizing your brushes. Today, most stylists have their own set of brushes, right? Well, you might not be able to do that. The salon might, I've heard salons say they're going to get their own sets of brushes. They're going to sanitize them, put them in a Ziploc bag, just like when they in front of the client, they open it, say, hey, this bag, this brush has been sanitized. So there are things that we have never had to be confronted with that are going to change. And we're going to have to adjust to it. And I think it's going to change. And as clients come in, they're not going to want to have multiple people touch them. So it may be the stylist of today may have to do the shampooing, may have to do everything that they were not doing when this first started. It's a different world. And I want to make one thing. Everything that I say is my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, but you asked me a question. I think that we're in for a lot of change initially. Until people feel more comfortable, I think we're going to have to learn as things go on how we do things in the salon. For instance, some salons are not going to take cash. I mean, it's just going to be credit card. Some salons, I was reading and speaking to somebody who was in Georgia, they are not doing blow drying, okay, because they believe that that's a challenge. Now, if that's the case, that means the client is going to go home without their hair blown out. Is that going to be a problem? And they're not going to change the price. That's what the salon said. We're not changing our price. We're just doing this as a precaution for them.
Because of the, I guess, blowing it around. We have another question, Joe, from Carl. We have the PPP loan. Our staff is on unemployment. We have 8 weeks of forgiveness. The salon is closed. What should we do to force them back? Our shampoo girls are getting $800 on unemployment.
The most controversial topics that we could talk about are unemployment and PPP. Okay? All right. So here's the thing. I think that a good intention was done, but it turned out to be not a very good result, because if someone's making more money at home, what is the incentive for them to come back to work, number one? And if they don't feel safe, there's a multitude of challenges here. But in the state of New Jersey, if we bring back somebody for less than 32 hours and they can still be eligible for that additional $600. Now, that is the state of New Jersey. Don't quote me on it. That's what
Right.
we are finding out. The challenge with the PPP is that it was supposed to, the intention of it was supposed to be so we can get people off unemployment, okay? And by getting them off unemployment, you would be paying them. But the challenge was that salons, when they brought their people together to say, hey, we got this loan, we're going to bring you back, they were not really thrilled about it because they were making money. So in some cases, a lot of that money is going to be forfeited back because they can't use it. So
Right.
there's no right or wrong answer. I think because now I'm only can speak here because New York, New Jersey, to me, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, where this region where I live, I believe it's going to be the last one to open. And if that's the case, it's the last one to open. And we've been closed here from the 20th of March. So could you imagine, we're already going to be approaching the 8-week mark. There's no end in sight, maybe 4 weeks, 5 weeks yesterday, if you listen to our governor. So if you use that 8 weeks worth of PPP money and you got it early, guess what happens? You're going to have to send your people back on unemployment because you used your 8 weeks. So it's a very confusing. My suggestion would be 3 important people: your attorney, your banker, and your accountant have to give you the advice. And by the way, I've talked to all 3 of them, multiples. I get a different answer from everybody. It is very confusing.
Wow.
There's no one knows if they're going to forfeit the loan. Most people think they are. And it was a good intention that hasn't worked out as it should have.
Okay. Especially when you have to stay closed for so long.
Yeah.
So yeah, Carl, did you get that? What were the 3 for Carl? The lawyer, the
lawyer, the attorney, and the banker. But here's the thing, all kidding aside, you know, when if you think about it, when you're trying to help people get through this, because this is uncharted waters, the intention was really good to help people make more money, you know, to give them support.
Yeah.
But any program that does not encourage people coming back to work because they can make more money being home, there's a flaw. And that's going to be all of our problems as we move forward.
It makes sense. So I think of all, you know, there's the loan side of it. There's all the things we're doing. I mean, how do we pay for all this stuff? Do we have to do a full triage on what we charge for things, a total, you know, I think about the menu, right? Like the services we offer. You talked about no blow dries. What do you think is going to happen in this area as far as like pricing? Who's going to pay for it? Is it the client or me? And looking at those services that might be deemed high risk or not as important.
I think everything has to be looked upon on what you're giving up and what you're, let's put it this way. As a salon owner, I think the days of giving food and cookies and stuff like that are over. You know, you're not going to be able to put that stuff out. Nobody's going to touch that. Down the road, maybe 3 months, you'll start to see somebody will come out with stuff that's individually wrapped. So there's some salons not even going to offer coffee because they don't want to touch things. They don't want, you know, so they're going to use all their space. So that's an expense you'll be saving. But the cost to get all of these other items to be part of it. Now, I can give you my personal opinion. I don't think the client is going to object if there was a $5 additional to all your services. I've heard people say we could charge $5 for, you know, a cleaning or whatever, an environmental charge. I don't think we should do that. I think if we should do anything, we should incorporate it into the cost of the service as a permanent increase because it's costing more to do business. And I think that $5 or whatever the number that you deem as the right number, that should stay in the salon to help the expenses. That does not become part of the ticket price for the commission on one end. I think our employees are very smart. I think they're going to know they're coming back to a situation that's going to take more effort and more money to get it off the ground. I just think that we have to be really careful on the pros and the cons of raising prices or how we get that money back. And it's not going to be cheap. I mean, people are, masks, seat covers, capes, disposable, cleansing, these machines to come through the salons and have them cleaned. I mean, we had it done at our salon. Another issue.
Can't.
So it's a very difficult question. And again, I look at when you do things, when it comes to how you pay for something, you have to look at the profitability for every salon. Every salon will have been closed anywhere from 4 to 16 weeks when this is over. And if you look at California, if you look at New York, you look at New Jersey, they may not open until July 1st. If they have their way in some of these the way these projections are, we're going to be out of work for almost a quarter, maybe 4 months of the year. How in God's name is a salon owner going to make money if we don't look at all these expenses? So we have to be smart. And that's what goes back to the beginning when we talked about communicating with our staff. You see, I'm sitting down on a Zoom call with my staff and I'm talking to them and I'm explaining to them, hey, we may be coming back in phases. We want to come back all together, but it's impossible to come back all together. If business is going to be off anywhere from 30 to 50%, which is the projections, because you can't, if you're going to have 6 feet of spacing and you're going to have less people in your salon, the only other thing you can do is extend your hours, but it's still costing you more money to extend your hours.
Yeah.
So everybody's going to have a different game plan, but we're all going to be probably in the same boat trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I mean, when I had a salon, and if any of you ladies are watching it, but the way we made it work was I always greeted you. It was a hug and a kiss. That's out, right? I seated you. You got a consultation. Maybe part of that's out. And then you would get your color put on. I'd go back to someone else. There were 3 at a time at all times. I don't even see that being feasible now. I think it'll have to be focused on very much one individual at a time per one person.
And it'll be focused on one person for a multitude of reasons. One, for safety for both your employee, and for the client. Second, if what we're hearing out of these states that are opening is that it's much more difficult to do a client. I saw something the other day. One of the people out of Georgia said that for the first time ever, they're blocking out a lunch break because they need time to go outside, get some fresh air, and eat something. Where we're on the run, eating a slice, right? It's crazy.
We could eat a burrito that big in like a minute.
So and here's the other thing. While we're painting a very not glamorous picture,
bleak, yeah.
Just remember this. Like everything else that's happened in our lifetime, and I remember because I was close to it here in New York when 9/11 occurred. Everybody said they were never flying again. Well, right. Today we take our shoes off. We get there 2 hours early. We get no food on there. We can't bring our own water from home. And guess what? Before this happened, flying did not drop, skip a beat. So I think what's going to happen is the first 60 days, 90 days, 6 months, it's going to take longer this time because so many people were affected. Where 9/11 affected one region and then it spread out because of the patriotism of our country, knowing that somebody tried to affect us. But I think that this is going to change how we do business. I think the salon business, like the restaurant business, like every other business, like the malls, how are they going to change? So when we figure out how to change it, it will be the new, what I have to call the new abnormal, because it's not normal. It's going to be different.
Yeah. Gosh. So how do you see us? We talked about this right now. How should we be welcoming them back when it's a moving target, if you will?
Well, again, I'm a big believer in telling people what we know. We don't know much, but what I would do, and I know that some people didn't like this idea, but I'm telling you that I talked to one salon. They said, we have a waiting list of 500 people. Well, if you have a waiting list of 500 people, why don't you book those people? Have your first month done. And instead of booking them on a date, just say, Mary Smith, you have the first Tuesday we're open at 10 o'clock.
Oh.
And then when you're told you have 2 weeks to go, then you drop everybody in. Of course, there's going to be some changes, but I think you got to start to say to yourself, wouldn't it be nice to know how many people I have my first week, how many people I have my second week?
Yeah.
I would buy my supplies. I could schedule my staff. Yes, I know it's going to have an effect on clients. You know,
Yeah.
I know there's going to be different things, but I think that to me is going to, these are the things I think are going to change the way we think, because I've talked to many salon owners and they're like, I don't know how to book people. I have canceled appointments. Well, if we don't know when we're opening, but I know there's going to be a first Tuesday, whatever that first Tuesday is, I can have it booked. That's just for me, common sense. But again, it's not something that everybody's going to be able to implement. And I believe that it'll be easier for a smaller salon to do that because they have more control over what their staff's going to be. But here's another thing that you have to think about. Where our industry is dominated, for the most part, we have mostly women. I think there's more women stylists in the U.S. than there are men. And today, the schools are not opening. What effect will there be no school, no summer camp? What are the hours going to have to be for that mother that can't leave her child alone?
Yeah, single mother. Yeah.
Or any parent.
Yeah, you're right.
So the point is, that might help in the scheduling in the afternoon and the evening. And I believe people will come whenever you're open. I mean, I talked to one salon owner, he said, if I was open 24 hours, somebody would come in and get a balayage at 3 in the morning. And I'm sure that could happen.
I got 2 a.m. The kids are sleeping and the husband's watching them. Yeah. I mean, Joe, that is probably one of the most logical solutions to that issue I've ever heard. And if you don't mind, I'm going to share that with a lot of people. And Amy agreed. That's such a great idea. So again, to recap that, instead of saying, I'm going to book you on July 1st, say the first Monday I'm back, it's yours. The second Monday I'm back. You could extend it even into 2 and 3 and 4 weeks.
I would do it. I would do it for the first month, because
I love it.
Because I think the other challenge, here's the thing that we need to really hit upon. I think as salon owners, if they haven't already, and I believe most have, they should be talking to their staff and asking them how they feel about what coming back and what their thoughts are.
Yeah.
And how they see their schedule. Don't wait for last minute to get disappointed. Find out right away. I did a call, and I'll be very honest with my sales team. And every time I did the call, I had a different sales group from New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut. I wanted to see their faces and ask them the question, how do you feel about coming back? And they were so honest. And I got a very good indication of some people are concerned about coming back to work. Some people don't want to be in phase 1. They want to come back later, and you have to respect that as an employer, because if you don't know that, how in God's name are you going to plan?
It's true. Yeah, I mean, because you've planned on that stylist being there, and she's like, you know what, I'm one of the people, I'm not comfortable. So many things to consider there. How, you're one of the biggest distributors of incredible brands, including Living Proof and
absolutely,
and my former marriage, Alterna. I know you only sell good stuff. How is retail going to play into this new environment? I think of all the retailers that are suffering right now. How will retail play into this new model?
It's a really good question. And what we've learned, if anything, we participated in a program where we got salons to have, because the salons don't want to ship products to their clients. But there's a third party, an organization we're dealing with, was called Salon Interactive. What we do is we sign the salons up, and they have a link. It's a unique link to them. Their clients, they can send their clients there to buy products. They don't touch the product. It goes to Salon Interactive. It comes to us. We ship it under the salon's name, and they get a percentage. Now, it's not the same percentage that they would get if they were selling it themselves. So that's one aspect. And if anything, if we learned anything, clients are buying online. So if you're a salon that doesn't have a portal to have online sales that someone's fulfilling for you, that's problem number 1. Number 2, if you're the stylist today, and I know you'd like this commercial I did for you, if you're a stylist and your client, I hate to tell you this, but your client in the first couple of months that they come into the salon are going to want to go directly into the salon, and when they're done, directly out. They're not going to mingle. They're not going, I would say the majority are not going to go over to the retail area. So if you have a client and you want to sell them the Living Proof dry shampoo, you're going to have to go get it and bring it to them and say, I recommend you take this product home with you, and this will be good home maintenance. If you think they're going to go touch the products that someone else might have touched it, they're not going to do that. So we have to be better suggestive sellers. We have to be better in news. And I was a young kid. I'll never forget. I used to make a lot of commission. I used to take the box of shoes and I'd take the polish and put it on top and say to them, hey, you need this. And I'd walk it up to the counter and leave it there. A lot of our staff members don't do that. But we need our stylists to embrace retail. And they may increase their retail. You know why? Because if they're doing less clients, they need another way to get revenue, a source of revenue. And I strongly suggest we pay commission to our stylists that help sell the retail.
Yeah. And I mean, the clients are going to get it, the product somewhere. And let's face it, no client is ever as good at doing her own hair as you are. And you need those tools. So it seems almost criminal not to recommend them. I like that idea.
I got to tell you one other thing I just read today.
Yeah.
If you go, there's some department stores opening, right? So what they're going to do, so if you go to a department store and you try on this shirt, and it's going to be left behind, right? When they go into the room, they're going to take that shirt and put it in quarantine for 48 hours.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Okay, now, 48 hours. What does that do? So if they're not going to, no, think about this. So you're
going to I don't know.
No, you're going to go try it on, whatever it is, and so you think they're not going to go? You're going to touch bottles, and because they're going to go to a retail environment. That's why the sales are growing crazy online. We need to make the experience back into the salon with the salon professionals, showing them why they should buy the products from them. And it also will help, and our stylists should be trained to say, listen, it helps me, helps us, buy from us.
And I think that's the point. I know they want to help. You know, one thing we didn't talk about is this super fancy salon you're connected to. We talked about what they're doing, but like the Real Housewives of New Jersey, come on, you got to have at least one dish. We need a Real Housewives story here. Or a reality story.
I have to tell you something. First of all, Justin DePasquale, who runs, he's Carmen's middle son, who's a hairdresser, who runs the salon and does a great job, day-to-day operation. He has come up with a lot of these new protocols that we're going to do. Yes. Many years ago, before the Housewives started, they had called us to ask us if we wanted our salon or our distributor to be part of it. And we turned it down because we didn't think that it would be something that would be on regular television. But yes, I do know the Housewives. They're really good people. I think that they've done some amazing stuff and made themselves some really good money. I think doing it. And one thing about it is we all know that the show itself, you've done shows, they're scripted, but they really haven't helped. They really haven't helped our industry. But we have Melissa Gorga goes to our salon. She's a really good soul, nice girl, and so she's there all the time. So I like it because when I watch the show, I see all the places that I grew up in, and New Jersey gets a bad rap, but we have a lot of great Italian food. We have a lot of great places. So that to me is from a personal side is really good.
You probably made a good.
It'd probably be X-rated too. R-rated for sure.
It would be up there. Marie Belle Christine commends you on really representing that it's another way to serve your client by talking about the retail at the chair. So we couldn't agree more. Amy loves New Jersey. So Joe, we've come to the part of the show where people are going to really get to know you. And that is, we'll play a little bit of this or that. But the first thing I'm going to ask is your favorite song from the 80s. And I'm going to have everybody else type in their favorite 80s jam.
You probably won't even know it. It's by the Tramps. Okay.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, I'll give you two because you won't know the first one. The first one is
Okay,
where do we go from here? Great song.
okay.
And then Disco Inferno. I think that's an 80s song. Okay.
Oh, I love Disco Inferno. Okay, it's yeah, it might be Burn Baby Burn, no, or
That's one of them. There you go.
see, I know it. I know it.
I'm showing my age. Half,
Yeah, me too.
three-quarters of the people that are watching this don't even know what the hell disco is.
Mine's Tainted Love by Soft Cell, so
There you
same
go.
era. So everybody type theirs, but I'm going to give you a game of this or that, Joe. So you choose between the two. All
Got
right?
it.
Okay. So pizza or pasta?
Both.
Both. Brooklyn or New York City?
New York City.
New York City. New York Giants or New York Jets?
Giants.
Okay. Phone call or text?
Phone call.
Since you're a shoe man, sneakers or sandals?
I never wore sandals. Sneakers.
Are you a passenger or a driver?
I never sit in the passenger seat. Never.
He's all no. Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Rock or disco?
Disco.
Disco. Winter or summer?
Summer.
Live concert or recording?
Recording.
By the way, we got Madonna here. We got Bon Jovi here. We got Depeche Mode for our favorite songs. Ketchup or mustard?
Ketchup.
Dine in or delivery?
Dine in.
I wouldn't think that would be hard for you. I'd see you as a white tablecloth, nice dinner guy.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Maybe because of all the nice ones you've taken me to.
Yeah, you confused me with dine in. Okay, I got it.
Theater or Netflix?
Netflix.
Right. Oh, city or countryside?
City.
Hot tubs or hot springs?
Tub.
And the one that gets everyone in trouble with their wife, Angelina Jolie or Jennifer Aniston?
Jennifer Aniston.
You have a picture with her.
Damn right. I do. It's right over there.
You probably have the same face every guy has when they take a picture with Jennifer Aniston. It's Jennifer
It's
Aniston.
pretty nice.
Oh, boy. So, any parting words for us, Joe, as we round off our conversation?
I first of all, I want to thank you and Living Proof for allowing me to be part of this. You know how much I feel about you. We're friends.
Thank you.
And I just want everybody to know one thing, or two things, actually. The salon industry will be a big part of the healing in this country. And the second part is we will get through this. The salon industry will take its hit like every other industry, but we have the power to be able to make people look and feel better. And if we just stay focused, don't panic. It's hard not to right now because everybody's been locked up. I think we have the ability to come back even stronger. It may take a while, but I really believe this industry is poised to be great. I really am.